from the Van Aken District, Market Hall in downtown Shaker Heights, we are the Fabulous Boomer Boys. Fourth grade friend, Bruce Bogart, and I'm Bob Snyder, and we are in our new home. For those of you that have been watching us for the past year, we've been at Corky and Lenny's, and we've got, as you can see tonight, a really nice crowd here, and we needed a little more room. So here we are at Van Aken. They were kind enough to offer us their spot.
It sounded so weird when you said from, then you didn't go to our old home, you went right here. I'm thinking, wait, that doesn't sound right, but it feels at home. So here we are.
Here we are. And you know what, Bruce? Happy New Year.
Thanks, pal.
Okay.
Happy New Year to all our friends who are celebrating Jewish New Year. And, okay, here we go. It's 5780.
That's right.
It feels like 5779 to me.
Okay. Well, it's a new year, but it's also a new segment of our show being here. And we just want to remind everybody we're now going to be on the doing live broadcasts the first and third Tuesday of every month. So our next show will be October 15th. And Bruce, we have a repeat guest, which we haven't done too often, but she's a great one. Jan Jones. Those of you who want to remember Jan Jones.
That's right.
Another Cleveland icon will be here with us on October 15th. And actually, she's worked with our guest who's going to be coming up here in just a few minutes. But I want to make sure everybody reminds your friends that come on down here and visit us. I'm getting the signal here. Can everybody hear me okay there? We want to be sure. Okay. All right. So we want to remind everyone that our guest on the 15th is going to be Jan Jones. And be sure to come on out and here at the Van Aken District.
It's downtown Shaker Heights, they call it.
Right. And there's all kinds of food courts available, and you can get your food and enjoy that. Okay. So.
What do you got going tonight, Bob?
Let's get right to it.
All right.
We've got a legend with us tonight. And the turnout shows part of the reason he's here. And this guy is not large in stature as far as height goes, but he is one of the biggest names. If you are a baby boomer in Northeast Ohio, you heard of this guy. We're going to really delve into his career. Ladies and gentlemen, Little John from Big Chuck and Little John.
Welcome. Thank you very much. Lashana Tova.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did you just learn that from our friend Barry Siegler before he sat down?
He doesn't know it.
He has no idea, does he?
He has no idea. Okay. Everybody that's a baby boomer knows about Little John and Big Chuck. Big Chuck and Little John. Okay? But we're gonna go back for some of the millennials that are maybe here tonight and aren't so familiar with your show and get a little history, if that's okay with you.
Not a problem.
Okay. Now, your show right now is on at 11:30 Sunday night on Fox 8.
Correct.
Right? Whatever channel your cable has, Fox 8, 11:30.
Usually it's 8. Share it with me.
No, on cable it's not.
On my cable it's 8.
Well, everybody's cable's different, Bruce. Okay.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
All right. So I'm going to start off with a big question. Okay? Right after each skit, there is this great laugh that you have recorded. What's the story behind that?
Okay, that laugh was, you remember, for those of you who remember laughing at the end of the show, da 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 da. Okay, well, that's what Chuck had as the stinger. But he didn't want to use that. He wanted to create something different. So there was a guy in the radio called Jay Lawrence. He was on the radio.
Jaybird.
Jaybird, okay. And the engineer at Fox 8 was listening to his show, and the Jaybird laughed at something, and that was his laugh. So they taped his laugh, and that's his laugh that we've used all these years.
And did you have to get his permission? Or?
Well, Chuck called me, and he's still alive. I mean, he's in California and everything.
Oh, he still is?
Yeah, he's still alive. Yeah.
He used to be on KYW. We were back in the Beatles era.
Yeah, he was with Jerry G, another baby boomer DJ. Right?
And if you listen to it real close, it's 3 laughs put together.
Oh, I see. I didn't know
right,
that. Okay, all right. So that's a laugh. All right. So the other thing about the show that people that are baby boomers, if they haven't watched it recently, you've got a lot of people that were on the staff at Channel 8 in the skits. I watched one the other night. You had Dick Goddard, for example. Right? How did that come about?
Well, the first, I would say, 40 years, we weren't allowed to use news anchors. They weren't allowed to be in commercials. They weren't allowed to do anything.
right. Okay.
So it was only that, but Dick Goddard was the one that said, "Hey, I want to be on their show," because Dick's really a funny guy, and he could sing, and he could And so he was the first one that came on our show from the news anchor. And then from then, Robin Swoboda came on, Tim Taylor came on, and so then we had more of a crew then.
What about Art Lofredo?
He
That
was
a-
he was a cameraman.
Oh, he was a cameraman.
He was a
He's in a
cameraman.
lot of skits too, though.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
His physical appearance was just funny on stage.
And he came to Chuck and he said, and he showed him a skit that he did, and it was the Parma Philharmonic, and Chuck liked him and started to use him.
Bruce and I talk a lot about how in today's world you have to be so politically correct. One of the things that's so great about your show, you're still getting away with it, is you didn't worry about that.
Well, back then you didn't have to.
You didn't have to.
You didn't have to at all. And
Like a bunch of your skits involve a certain ethnic group. In fact, that's what you called it, right?
But certain ethnic could be anybody. It could be Jewish, Italian, Polish, anything. Certain ethnic.
Yeah, but because of the background
Of
with
Chuck.
Goulardi and Chuck, everybody assumed it was Polish.
Right. And then the character he played,
Right.
Stash and everybody.
Yeah. So, but you couldn't do that today, could you?
No, there are a lot of things we couldn't do today, and that's basically one of the reasons why we don't do as many skits as we used to, because we used to just head out and do a skit. Now you need permits from cities. Everybody's got to make sure it's okay. You got to make sure you say the right thing. We didn't care. I'll tell you a quick story. Bill Flynn went from Fox 8 in Cleveland to Fox 8 in Detroit. So
Okay.
he told these guys, he said, "Why don't you bring these guys, Big Chuck and Little John, up to do this show?" So we went up there every week and do the show. We drive up.
You drove up to Detroit?
Drove up to
I never
Detroit.
knew that. I just always thought it was Northeast
We
Ohio.
drove over to Detroit. Well, it only lasted 13 weeks.
Oh, okay. Those people in Motown, they didn't have the humor. They could sing, but they couldn't laugh.
They didn't understand the show at all. They didn't understand the show at all.
Okay.
So, I mean, the Anti-Jewish Defamation League would call us, the Italian Association would call us,
no.
everybody, because we used to do records, take off on records.
Right.
The Yiddish records, Yiddish are coming and everything like that. So that lasted 13 weeks and we got booted from there.
Okay.
Cleveland has they're total different.
Well, you know, I always thought one of the things about Cleveland is so great is you could have people like with a name like Swoboda or Shadowski, and they don't have to change their name. In Cleveland, we like ethnic people and what they do, right?
It's an ethnic.
Or you could have a Rinaldi even,
Right,
right?
there were ethnic pockets all over the city. There still is.
Yeah. Okay, so Bruce, I know you remember, before we get into some more of the history, there's one story in particular I know we want to talk about, because with the Browns being such a big deal now.
Yeah,
right?
well, you know. Okay, so Marvin Lewis. Remember that name?
Coach of the Cincinnati
Coach
Bengals.
of the Bengals until this year.
Tell me your favorite Marvin Lewis story. What brings that up?
Well, it was like 3 years ago when Johnny Manziel was here. They were having an interview with Marvin Lewis, the coach's interview, and they said, "What do you think about Johnny Manziel?" He goes, "We don't worry about that little midget." Okay? And that was it. That's all Fox 8 needed. The next week, they sent me down to do the sports interview with him. So,
And there, let me set the picture up though, right, Bruce? Or do you want to set it up?
No, go ahead, Bob.
All
Sure,
right, well,
sure.
they've got John sitting there, his feet dangling. He's in the front row with all these big time sports
Right
writers
here.
and football
This
players.
is his seat, right here. And where that camera is right there, that's where the rostrum is with Marvin Lewis.
right, we got down there. No, nobody knew where I was coming. Nobody. Cincinnati didn't know I was coming. All we had to do was give them my name from Fox 8.
Oh, right. They had to let Fox 8 because you're one of the
Right.
main stations in Cleveland.
So the cameraman went in, got the credentials, and then came out to the truck, gave me the credentials. Then he went in, set up, and put my jacket in that chair. So that was, he got there an hour early.
Oh, so he got you. You reserved your seat. Okay.
That's why that chair is where we got.
Yeah, you
the
have prime seating.
Right. So then, 5 minutes before Marvin Lewis comes in, I walked in and sat down. And the buzz in the press guys, because they didn't know me either, because they're sport.
No, they go, "Who the hell is this guy?" Right,
But
right.
within 5 minutes, with everybody on their phone, they knew exactly who I was. And everything.
Okay.
So when it came to the question and answers, Marvin came out. And he walks over and he looks, and you could see a bead of sweat on his lip. And he comes over and he looks, and then one guy, the moderator, says, "Okay, we're going to open up for questions." Nobody said a word. They let me raise my hand.
Wait, I remember it better than you because I watched it an hour ago. Okay, you were better than that. Lewis gets up there, and apparently he had issued a mass apology to the media, and he said, well, we've dealt with my silly, I think he said stupid or silly comment, and if anybody has any questions about it, I'd be happy to entertain them. Dead silence. And then he says something, okay, now let's talk about football or something like that. And then, guess who's got the first question?
Me. And it was a football question.
Yes.
And it was like, you could see like the whole relief.
Well, it wasn't really a football question.
Well-
It was framed as a football question. Do you remember what you asked him?
No, I don't.
He says, how are you going to handle the size difference between Johnny Manziel and some of the others you've defended? Straight face.
It's a football question.
That's a football question.
And then the follow-up question, how about the difference between Johnny Manziel and Hoyer, who had been their quarterback?
But how he answered that is, he said, I already answered that on your first question.
All right. I didn't shake your hand then, but I got to tell you, great move.
Yep.
And where's he today, right? Yeah.
And by the way, when that was done, did you have any interaction with him at all?
Yes.
Oh.
When you go to these conferences and everything, you can't say anything to the coach. You're not allowed to say anything. You have to answer the questions and answers. Then when the coach is done, they go out on the field, the practice field, and then the team comes out. You can't say anything to any of the players, and you can't say anything to the coach. You could just watch, okay? So then I was standing there, and he comes by, and it was a freezing day, too. And I had a hat on, I had an R. And he goes, Rutgers? And I go, no, Rinaldi. And it turned out that, like, the four guys back, the guy goes, woo, woo, like this, because he was a punter, and he was from Rutgers.
Oh, he's from Rutgers.
Yeah, you're right. He was from Rutgers. But that's all. That's it. Nobody can say a word. And then after 15 minutes of watching them, and it's the same in Cleveland. Okay, then you have to leave. You can't stay.
Okay, so let's go back now to some of the beginnings. And we want to mention one of the reasons you're here today is besides the fact that you're friends with Barry Siegler, and he's my friend, and he gave me your phone number.
He's our friend.
Yeah, I guess Bruce is his friend too. Who's your friend too, Barry?
That's two.
It's still only one for Bob, though.
There's only one for Bob, right? Okay. So this whole thing really started with a guy named Ernie Anderson, who was Goulardi. Is everybody here? Give me a little. You heard of Goulardi, right? You're from Northeast Ohio. We got somebody here from Pittsburgh. They don't know, but other people know. Okay. So Goulardi leaves town, and Fox 8 has got this top-rated show where they show these stupid horror movies at night, and he would do cut-ins, right? And Big Chuck is the director. Right?
Well, he was the cameraman at the time.
Cameraman, okay.
He was camera 4.
Camera 4. So now, what is Channel 8 going to do? So,
Okay,
let you take it from there.
What Channel 8 did was they knew they wanted to fill that time slot, so they put out a thing who would want to take that time slot. So Houlihan at the time was the weatherman, and
Houlihan the weatherman,
and
right?
he wanted to do it. So he went to Chuck and he said, hey, because Chuck wrote a lot of those like skits for Ernie and everything like
Right.
that. And he's the one that put Ernie in the movies and that because he was an engineer and all that.
Yeah, he knew the technical
Correct.
aspect. Like Tyler Klebin here, our technical
There-
guy.
there you go.
Make sure you get the crowd here, Tyler. All right, okay, thank you.
So he asked Chuck if he would help him, and he said, and write yourself in a little bit. And Chuck says, no, I don't want to be in the air. So he really never wanted to be on the air.
Okay.
And then when they interviewed and everything, and everybody in the city of Cleveland interviewed for that job. Everybody.
Well, that was a good. It had to be. It's the top rated show at 11:30 at night,
right.
Saturday night,
and
Friday night.
And they picked Hooley, but they said if you take the show, Chuck's got to go with you.
Okay.
And that's how Houlihan and Big Chuck started. And
All
then
right.
Chuck started doing the writing, and Hooley was the talent.
And then, where does Little John come?
Along came John. Okay.
Yeah.
But everybody here know Dick Blake?
Dick Blake,
The dancer.
If you ever watched the Big Five show, Dick Blake did a lot of the dancing.
Hey, you guys are old.
Yeah, I know. And he also today, if you millennials are getting married, Dick Blake might be the guy that teaches your parents how to dance for the wedding dance,
Or
right?
you guys. how to
Or
do it.
you,
Yeah.
you want to do your wedding dance. Dick Blake gets paid to do that, right? And he also does a lot with the
Manners.
manners. Teaches manners, like to the girls at Hathaway Brown or Laurel. Okay.
So anyway, I was working in a jewelry store at the time, Colin Hubbard. I can mention that name because they're gone.
They're done, right?
And Dick Blake came in, and what really happened is we cracked his stone, and he wanted money, and we wanted to give him another stone. So he would come in all the time, and where's my money? And we'd say, well, we're not a bank, we're a jewelry store. And so they would tell me as a young salesman, go make them laugh, go make them laugh. So I did. I used to go up there and fool around and everything. And one day he goes, hey, do you like to be funny? I go, yeah. He goes, I know these guys who in Big Chuck. I said, well, here's my card. Tell them to give me a call. Okay.
Oh, so you didn't know Chuck before that?
No,
Oh,
no.
Dick Blake actually? Okay.
So,
that's a scoop. I don't think anybody here knew that. Anybody knew Dick Blake?
no, if it wasn't for Dick Blake, I would not be on television.
Okay.
So he would call Chuck like every other week because he had dance studios
Right.
around. And he'd say, hey, do you need anybody and everything? And Chuck said, I need a little girl. And he said, well, I don't have a little girl, but I know a little guy. And he said, what's his name? And he goes, Rinaldi. He goes, oh, Dr. Rinaldi, which was my uncle. That must be his son. So he called me at the jewelry store. And he said, and I answered the phone, and he goes, Big Chuck here. And I'm thinking, yeah, right. Meanwhile, I find myself calling people now saying, Little John here. But,
Yeah, right.
and he wanted to do a skit, and it was on the west side, Bonnie's Lounge on West 222nd. That is just over 50 years ago. Nobody would cross the river.
Never.
No, you
never.
didn't cross the river. No.
It's still frowned upon, by the
Yeah.
way.
You still need a passport.
Exactly. So I said, yeah, I'll do it. He said, okay, I'll send you everything. I never got anything. So like 3 days later, he calls up. He says, hey, how'd you like it? I said, I didn't get anything. He said, you could do it without it. We'll do it. It was Bridget the Midget. That was my first skit.
Bridget the Midget.
Bridget the Midget. So I said, okay, I'll do it.
Now you'd have to call her Bridget the Little Person.
And hey, I wrecked Baby.
Right.
That was a Ray Stevens record too.
Right, right.
So he said, you need a dress, you need a wig. So I rifled my sister's closet, and I got a wig. And my buddy just came back from Vietnam, so I used his combat boots. And we went. So I took 3 guys with me, just in case. So I went there to Bonnie's Lounge, went to the door, locked. And I said, nah. So it turned out that he opened the door, and he goes, John Rinaldi. He said, oh, Chuck Schnauzing walked in, and then shuts the door. The deal they made with, and they don't do that anymore either. If you were in the bar, you could drink free beer, but you couldn't leave. But there was no cell phones or anything like that.
Right.
But if you left the bar, you couldn't come back in. And that was
Okay.
that was the first skit. That's how it started.
And that was the skit. That started it. Okay. And then now we got. Did we say when the Goulardi Fest is? Because I.
Well, Goulardi Fest is October 11th through the 13th, which is next weekend. And we're bringing in, Houlihan will be there.
Houlihan will be there?
Bringing in from Florida. We're also bringing in, I can't ever remember her name, Allison, the nasty girl on Little House on the Prairie.
Oh, really?
We're bringing her up, and we're bringing up Victoria Jones, not Jones, Victoria Price.
Now, where do you have it inside the fairgrounds or outside? Where is it?
Inside. No, we have 2 buildings.
Oh, it's in 2 buildings.
Yeah, it's big. Non-stop entertainment on stage. The main acts, besides Victoria Price, are going to be the G's Cats. They're going to play.
Okay.
And then, like I said, it's non-stop entertainment for 3 days on stage.
Now, I don't know those of you out here. I'm going to give you another old time thing, especially for baby boomers. That Bruce Bogart and yours truly were at, and that is the Woolly Bear Festival.
That's
Dick
coming up.
Otter always has a Vermilion.
It's this weekend.
And that's where we first met. When Bruce and I were at a radio show, and they invited us out to the Woolly Bear Festival.
That's this weekend.
That is
this
unbelievable.
Sunday.
What do they get? Like 100,000 people
Well,
out there?
they said one time we got 200,000.
I don't know who counts, but they get a lot of people.
They get a lot of people. And Dick did this. This is our 47th, by the way. 47th Woolly Bear.
We were there about 27 years ago, right?
And
yeah, oh yeah.
there's only 3 people that made all 47.
Really?
Right. Big Chuck, Neil Zerker, and myself.
Neil Zucker also, who guested on, was a guest on our show. Yeah. He talks about Vermilion and the one trip.
But I mean, it started, the Woolly Bear started in Birmingham. And
Birmingham, Alabama.
no, Birmingham, the little city Birmingham, which
Oh.
is next to Vermilion.
Oh, okay.
And it got so big that the front of the parade and the back of the parade were meeting each other and were going around in a circle. And then Birmingham said, because the way they do it is when Browns have a bye week or they play on Monday, that's when the Woolly Bear is.
Right.
Because Dick was the statistician
For the Browns.
for the
Right.
Browns, right. And So they said we have to do it like October 5th, and Birmingham said, no, we have our church bazaar.
Oh, okay.
And that was it.
Little did they know,
Oh,
right?
little did they know.
Yeah. So that's okay. I don't want to forget about, as long as we're talking about these different festivals, we're going to be giving out some tickets here in just a little while to the Boomer Bash, which this year is called the Boomer Bash because it's in on Halloween night, the night before Halloween, October 30th. So we hope you're all going to come there, and we're going to be there, Bruce, right?
By the way,
Here, can
when
we
you
get
were
a
growing
shot
up,
of this?
when you were growing up, did you have a name? Where did you grow up? What town did you grow up in?
Cleveland. I'm from
Okay.
Cleveland.
Fair enough. So, did they have a name for the night before Halloween?
Yeah, Beggar's Night.
Beggars
Beggars
Night.
Night,
yeah.
I don't think you're allowed to say that anymore.
No, and you're not allowed to do it anymore.
Yeah, you know, they're actually talking about moving Halloween
do
to
it,
a
right.
weekend always now. It's such nonsense.
So we're going to be at Landerhaven for the Boomer Bash, and it's going to be from 4 to 7 Wednesday, October 30th. So those of you who want to come out and see us for that, and also all the different people, we hope you'll be there as well. October 30th, 4 to 7 at Landerhaven. And we've had the people on from the Northeast Ohio Boomer Magazine before, and they are going to be, of course, sponsoring this again. And it's a lot of fun. It's some entertainment, some free food.
And it's geared for
bunch of
people our
50
generation.
plus.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's geared for people, you know, Bob and I got to perform last year,
That's right.
and they're having it again anyway.
It's still going to happen. And it's still letting us come back.
Well,
so-
basically, that's Gilardi Fest. It's geared for the boomers.
For the
and
baby
it's a family-friendly occasion.
I've got to go over a couple of skits I watched just to remind some people. There was one of them that I saw recently, which I thought was kind of helped me out here a little bit. There's a John and Chuck are dressed up as robbers. You know, this is like old-time television. You know, you're wearing the kind of thing where you can't mistake the fact that you're thieves. They walk in, there's a safe, and you open up the safe, right?
Well, Chuck opens up with his feet,
Chuck, yeah.
with his foot.
He opens up, knocks the safe open, and there's all this cash in there. And John goes in there, takes the cash out, and he says to Chuck, "Here's the $10 I owe you." You remember that one?
Yeah. But
Did I tell it good? Did I tell that one all
tell it
right?
pretty good, pretty
it's
good.
so much funnier when you see the sight.
And
Really, it's great.
But the actual punchline was, it's going to drive the fingerprints people crazy because he opens the safe with his feet, with his toes.
Okay.
How many times did you do a skit? How many takes would it take?
Okay, it's not the number. Basically, what you got to look at is for every skit, for every minute takes an hour.
Really?
Yeah, because
You really had it. I can
That's
see
a
you
lot
guys
of-
just knocking these
That's
things
a
off.
lot of
Yeah.
time invested.
well, because you got to edit it, you got to,
Yeah, I understand.
the whole thing.
But it
And-
doesn't. Oh, it doesn't take an hour of your time.
No, but sometimes it did. But it was all scripted. There was no ad lib.
There was script.
The whole show scripted.
And it's usually, is it Chuck mostly that writes the scripts?
Well, we have over 2,000 skits. In that.
Oh, my goodness.
And I wrote 6.
But you're the talent. That's okay.
But some of them were so. I mean, I loved them because you could see the punchline coming. The one that I focused on was your partner. What's his name?
Chuck.
Chuck. Okay. I wasn't allowed to stay up late. You understand it? He was being hoisted on a crane. His the jaw was so strong, and, and you're down on the ground, and he's almost at the top, and you say something like "way to go" or something like that. He goes, "Thank you," and he drops. Yeah. How do you guys do that? That had to be photography, right?
Well-
he didn't go on a crane in the middle of the air.
Well, first of all, that skit, that's Manitoba. It's off of Brook Park there. Great people. They let us borrow their crane.
They let you use the
Yeah.
crate.
And
they had to be nuts to let you use the
Okay,
crate.
so
Yeah.
we had a dummy. We have dummy. Chuck and I had dummies for both of us. So dressed like us and everything. So if you saw a skit where I fell out of an airplane, it was a dummy
Right,
just
yeah,
but it was all perfectly height, the same thing. The dummies were the same height as we were. And so you hoisted him up there, and then when he came down, the cameraman went like this, and then by the time he came, I was laying on the ground, and Chuck's over me. So it looks like he fell right on top of me.
Right. That's
right,
But
Yeah. But if you look real close in that skit, I had a brand new suit on that day. Fell down and split my pants.
So you had, that's another reason for some of the extra takes. and stuff.
No, that's a one take.
Oh, that's a one taker?
Yeah, how many suits can you bring to the show,
How many
right?
times you gonna hoist a dummy?
Now, I got one other one with Dick Goddard that I want to go over because we're running out of time, but these are great. They had and it's funny because there's a commercial on now. If you've seen, I think it was one of the Frito-Lay commercials where the kid has a time machine. It's on the football games. I've got to think most of you guys that watch football see this. And a guy goes in, he goes into the time machine, and he comes out, and the kid leaves, and there's this guy 80 years old there, standing there. So the guy thinks, oh my God, this guy really invented the time machine. All right, so I think they stole the ad from you guys, because you had a skit where Dick Goddard is the crazy professor, and they have a IQ machine, where they're going to lift your IQ from like 50 to 150. So here comes John, and they put him in there in the IQ machine, and sure enough, he comes out, and it works. Okay, he goes in. He's a janitor, and they put him as a janitor. He comes out with a suit and tie, and he starts spewing
The quantum theory.
the quantum theories. Okay, so good. So what's the next? So there's another janitor there.
Art Lafredo.
That's what I was saying. So that was Art Lafredo, right? They put Art Lafredo in there, and they do the same thing. And Art Lafredo comes out of the computer, right?
The guy turned it the wrong way.
He turned the machine the wrong way. How does Art Lafredo come out as?
A Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Right? What a great skit. How can you not watch this stuff? I watch it, at 11:30 at night, especially. Maybe you want to go to bed. You watch this stuff, you're up for another half hour because you're still remembering all the skits and laughing about it, John.
DVR it. They have this new invention.
I'm a baby boomer. What do I know?
Wait, talk about new inventions. This is what's fascinating to me. You're actually older than Bob.
I'm older than everybody here.
Which is saying a lot. And unless you were playing me, this is his 15th interview today.
No, not 15.
No.
You said 15?
No, that's my 5th.
Oh, 5th. I heard wrong. I guess I'm old. It's still 5. That's more interviews than Bob gives in a day.
Well, they want him. I'm knocking on doors asking to be interviewed. Big difference. All right. So wait, we've got tickets to give away, John. Will you do the drawing so people know it's legit for our fans here?
I'll tell you also what I'm going to do is I'm going to give 2 tickets away to the Gallardi Fest.
Oh, okay.
all right.
How's that? What's the dates?
October 11th through the 13th.
11 to the 13th. Okay, if your name is called and you can't go October 11th, 13th, please tell us right off the bat because these are tickets somebody's going to want to use. Okay, go ahead, John. I'm going to let you. We'll do the Gallardi Fest right off the bat here. Okay, we'll let Bruce read it.
Yeah, Bob can't read.
I took my glasses out just in case.
This doesn't seem right. Who do you think wins? Barry Siegler.
Oh my God! All right, he's going to donate it back. Pick another.
You donate it back. Let me tell you something. Barry Siegler.
Pick another.
Barry's responsible for
We're going to give you the.
hooking us up with
we'll
this
give you the
gentleman
Boomer.
tonight.
Boomer Band. It's a different date. Okay, here we go.
Barry Siegler. No, just checking. All right. I can't read this. I really can't.
You need glasses.
Look, he's 150 years between them.
Michael Silverman.
Silverman.
Hey, Michael Silverman. All right. We'll give it to you after. Don't leave after the show. We'll give you a ticket. And then Barry, we've got a couple of tickets for you for the Boomer Bash. And if you come back next week, everybody, we're going to give some more away for the Boomer Bash. So we'll have those available for you. And the 15th, the next show here, October 15th. Thank you, Barry. And did Ronnie tell you to do that?
Barry Siegler. In case anybody missed it.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt, Bob.
All right.
So excited.
John, did we cover it all? I mean, I feel like we could talk to you for about 2 hours here about all these different things that go on there. But
Actually, you could talk for 50 years. I got enough stories.
Well, that means he's got to have to come back. That's all.
yeah, we got to maybe have you come back
Not a
next
problem.
time. There's something going on, and we'd love to have you back. This has been great. Everybody, what do you think about Little John?
Thank you very much. I got to. You guys are both really easy interviewers.
Thank you.
You're don't put a guy in a spot. You're an easy interview, guys.
Well, listen. We're fans. We've been very lucky on this show, and the people we've had on. I would say 95% of them, Bruce, we've been fans of theirs, whether it's been a book author or a celebrity. Bruce and I are legitimate fans, and that's why we do this show, so we get our chance to talk to them.
We do have two people who have guested on our show in the house tonight. We got author Phil Scarry and two-time Purple Heart recipient Rob Forward.
Yeah, why don't you stand up? Can we get him on camera? Phil Scarry, go ahead. He wrote the book about Psycho. Yeah, thanks a lot for showing. And that, so that kind of thing, it makes it easier for us. But the truth is, John, those two guys were good, but some of the people that we liked, they weren't so hot. You've been great.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You've been a great guest.
Thank you.
You've been a lot of fun. Bruce, last word.
I just want to say, Per, get well. And I'll see Bob. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Oh, don't forget, we've got our security guard is here.
You want to thank Alan? Everybody safe tonight? It's his.
Take care of everybody? Good. Okay. All right. Please remember, when you watch this on YouTube, starting on Wednesday evening, tell your friends, give us a little check there when it says like and share it, because we are now running over that 8,000 mark, headed for 10,000, and we really 9,600. We need that 10,000. So help us out, and we want to remind everybody, we now can honestly say we are Northeast Ohio's most popular baby boomer webcast. So thanks to everybody else, and we'll see you on October 15th.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.